Recording.
Turn off your audio and turn on your camera. Off with the audio, on with the camera. So we are going to record this class and it's going to be available for you. Probably not till tomorrow or maybe Friday. So that you can participate in evaluation. Any questions before we get started? Okay, Alejandro?
When we present, are you sharing the presentation for each group, or how does that work so that we're able to show the visual
You'll
aids?
share your own stuff, so everybody can share. So you all can share if you want to. And I hope, again, that there are no total PowerPoint presentations. Okay. Any other, did I answer your question, Alejandro? Yeah. Andrew, we can't see you. Hello. The hat's off.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah. Beautiful hair. Beautiful hair. Next. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we're going to go in the order of our group. So group 1 is Casey and Alejandro.
Okay.
One
It's okay.
second.
Okay.
1 second. Very nice today. Okay, did you want to ask me a question?
Yes, it's okay if I share my screen for the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is my screen sharing?
Yep.
Okay. Am I good to start?
1 second.
Okay. Ready? The power of napping. Imagine a simple, free, and fast way to boost productivity, improve memory, and enhance your mood, all without caffeine. Eyes and ears. Today, we will be discussing why we should take more naps for our memory, It's healthier than consuming caffeine and for physical well-being. Additionally, whether you're a student, a worker, or both, you've likely struggled with fatigue. What if I told you there's a scientifically proven fix that takes only 20 minutes? Napping improves brain function, boosts aspects of health, and is healthier than caffeine. Major institutions like NASA, Harvard, and the Mayo Clinic have all studied the benefits of napping, and the results are clear. Napping is not lazy, it is smart. Regular napping can improve your cognitive function, physical health, and emotional well-being.
Let's talk about our first point, naps boost memory. According to John Axelson and Tina Sunderland from The Conversation, during non-REM sleep in naps, it contains both slow brain waves and sleep spindles. The sleep spindles produce many periodic burst-like signals in different parts of your brain. They are also believed to reactivate and consolidate memories. Both slow brain waves and sleep spindles increase the brain's ability to learn and how to adapt to new experiences. Research shows napping can benefit our cognitive function. Short naps are beneficial for immediately having to be alert after waking up because you don't enter the REM sleep stage. The recommended timing for a short nap, also known as a power nap, is a 10 to 30-minute nap. Anything longer than that may cause drowsiness throughout the day. During REM sleep, the brain strengthens and develops connections. Longer naps allowing for REM sleep are extremely important for improvements in motor skills. Longer sleep allows for the brain to also reduce unimportant connections, which balance how quickly the brain can work totally. The next point I want to talk about is why napping is better than consuming caffeine. Napping offers better cognitive functions than coffee. Short power naps boost not only alertness and memory, but they also allow for creativity, discussion making, and productivity. Naps are also mood enhancers, since the body loves cortisol levels, which naturally bring down stress and increase serotonin. They also allow for full body rest, whereas caffeine does not. Drinking caffeine on a regular daily basis has become a trend with individuals getting insufficient sleep. The 2005 to 2007 National Sleep Foundation Annual Sleep in America polls strongly suggest that Americans use caffeine as a substitute for sleep, which means coffee is also a result of insufficient sleep. The polls also report associations between low quantity or quality of sleep, decreased daytime functioning, and increased daytime caffeine consumption. While caffeine can improve wakefulness and performance on alertness for a short period of time, nothing can be proved on how caffeine positively affects memory, whereas naps allow for memory consolidation. For our last point, we would like to discuss the benefits of why naps are good for your physical well-being. According to the writers at the National Library of Medicine, naps increase energy, improve reaction time, and reduce daytime sleepiness. For example, if you take a 10 to 30-minute nap while on your lunch break, you're allowing yourself to be able to have better focus on afternoon meetings, calls, or paperwork, since you are much more alert and aware of your surroundings. This allows for more energy and no longer allows daytime sleepiness to creep up on you while you're sitting at your desk, trying to focus off caffeine or even without any substance to help increase productivity. Naps can help with someone's mood. Studies have shown that napping may block negative feelings like frustration and impulsiveness and replace it with a higher serotonin level. Midday naps are also proven to relieve stress and improve alertness to better focus on what's in front of you for the rest of the day. Naps support the immune system. Because of naps, one could potentially be less susceptible to illness because of the release of cytokines, which are proteins that play a huge role in an immune system's response to disease. Naps also enhance the function of cells like T cells, which are crucial for fighting infections that the body might endure. A quick power nap can also help regulate norphencetamine, which is a chemical messenger that acts as both a neurotransmitter and a hormone, which can reverse the negative effects of sleep restriction. We hope you learned about why everyone should include naps in their daily routine.
By listening about why naps boost memory, physical well-being, and are a healthier alternative than caffeine, you can see why we are excited to share about this topic. Napping is not just for luxury, folks. It is a scientifically backed strategy to live, work, and feel improved. A third of the hour leaves you feeling empowered. Try a short nap tomorrow. Recharge and do not push your brain and body past its limit. And in return, your body will thank you.
Okay, so just in case you didn't know, that was an example of a total PowerPoint speech, which I asked you not to do. Now, I think we can learn from this though to see, first of all, everybody notice how we were constantly looking at that slide way more than you looked at those speakers. You could hardly see the speakers, right? It was all on the slide. But here's the really bad thing about it. You leave up a slide that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. So now your audience is really not following what you're saying. Your message is getting lost during the delivery, which is something we don't want to do. Okay, so we can learn from it, our mistakes, but that was something that I asked for people not to do, not do your whole speech in a PowerPoint for those reasons. Okay. Just closing statement, by the way. Very good. Remember to state again. Now, Casey gave us a good connective into the conclusion. However, Alejandro, you should have said something about in conclusion, to sum up everything, or something like that, that indicates right in that summary statement that you're closing right now. Okay, very important for you to do that. The introduction was very good. You had all parts of that introduction that was good. You had great use of connectives throughout the speech. So that was a very good improvement, and I did notice that a lot. You made good use of comparisons. You did have your oral citations. I would encourage more detail about your sources cited, because we don't always know exactly who these so-called experts are. So if it's not something well known, you're citing a newspaper, everybody might not know it. Names of people everybody might not know. You have to give us a little bit more. So I think right in the beginning, the first oral citation, it was two people you were referring to, and you say that they were from some morning newspaper. But I think it had you gave us a little bit more information on what's their area of expertise. Studying that field for a long time, and saying what is a long time, like don't just say the words a long time, would help us to buy in more to the credibility of your source that you're citing as an expert. Why should we believe them? So that's important too. Basically, just specifically to the two speakers, um, it's important that you not read your entire speech. Okay, because it looks like it's being read. It doesn't look like you're connecting with us. It looks like you're actually reading something to us. And we want to be a little more natural in the delivery when we're giving a speech. So we connect better with the audience, and the audience doesn't feel that you're talking at them as opposed to engaging with them. Okay, good, good, good. 209. Good time. Okay, so do we have any questions for group one? All right, Braylon.
Is there a specific time of day that it's better to take a nap that will maximize the benefits?
Around like 12 to 1 o'clock, a good like 10 to 30-minute nap would be the most beneficial to someone.
Say,
Yeah, I think you guys did like very good on your presentation and stuff. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Thank you. But do you have a question?
anybody else have any
Yeah,
questions?
I have a question. Yeah, like how long did you guys do this assignment for? Like how long did it take you guys to finish this assignment and stuff?
Not important. Thank you for asking though.
Or did you find this amusing, say, for some reason?
Wait, say it again.
Do you find this amusing?
Uh, I like the assignment. This assignment's pretty good. I like the assignment stuff. It was pretty good and stuff.
Do you have an actual question?
I'm gonna think about it.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Casey and Alejandra. Good
You,
research.
you guys made a
What you're
mistake.
doing.
Everybody makes a mistake. It's
Say,
okay,
turn off
guys.
your speaker, please. Please. All right. Group two is that Jill, Jasmine, Andrew, and Alexandra.
Am I good to start?
1 second, please.
Oh, okay.
Alejandro, I love that blazer. You look so snazzy.
Yeah, you look very nice.
April Fool's was like a month ago.
We're ready.
Okay, I just wanted to preface with an apology about any background noise. They are doing construction above my room, so it might be some.
Okay.
Okay. The greatest thing we as humans have invented is community. It comes in many forms and in many different ways. With community comes a relationship uniquely built by everybody in the community. And one of the greatest examples of community we have is sports, more specifically, sports teams. From the players to the coaches to the audiences to the commenters, sports is one of the driving forces in socializations in humans and even more. The ability to be part of a sports team, the ability to directly impact and influence the game that you have dedicated yourself and time to. That is why it is important at some point in your life to be part of a sports team for a short term or for a long term amount of time. It offers such unique experiences that you truly can't get anywhere else. A few of the members of this group have been part of a team and can speak to its benefits. So even besides the personal experiences of everyone here, there's more than enough academic research that can back up these claims. The physicality of being in the sport, the training you have to do to be proficient in the sport, and the academic research to back up these claims. These are all things that make being in a sports team such a unique experience in human life. You're muted.
First, let's explore how participation in sports can lead to opportunities for personal growth. Sports team participation boosts the body's physical health through exercise. By keeping your body active, sports help you manage weight, lower your risk of disease, and build strength. Playing a sport helps the body burn calories, which can reduce the risk of obesity. The 2018 Physical Activity Guidelines state that physical activity, such as running, can reduce the risk of excessive weight gain. By participating in team sports, players increase their calorie expenditure, which helps burn fat as they train their muscles. Sports are also beneficial to your bone, brain, and muscular health. Team sports provides the perfect outlet to maintaining a healthy lifestyle. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as the CDC, reports that a single session of moderate to intensive exercise can provide immediate benefits to one's health. Due to the social nature and physical nature of team sports, a player's mental health can benefit significantly. By being part of a team, players can help uplift and depend on each other in times of need, resulting in better mental health. Keeping your body active releases endorphins and dopamine, which can help reduce anxiety. Through exercise, your body is able to relieve itself of jitters, nerves, and stress. The second edition of Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans, released in 2018 by the Department of Health and Human Services, indicates that regular physical activity can improve trait anxiety, deep sleep, and executive functions, such as the ability to plan and organize, monitor, control emotions, and initiate tasks. Sports help players deal with intense pressure and deal with significant life challenges. Sports require dedication and passion. To be dependable, players develop self-discipline. In order for one's team to succeed, athletes must learn to stick together and practice regularly. This habit builds their ability to show up even when life gets challenging. Practicing helps you train for the next big game, builds connections between you and your teammates, and keeps you disciplined through schedule. Team sports also require time management. By participating in team sports, athletes learn how to balance school, work, and their personal lives. As someone with a sibling in a team sport, I've seen firsthand how organized players have to be. Learning how to organize your time and productivity is essential to improving discipline both in and out of the game.
Now that we've explored how participating in a team sport can lead to opportunities for personal growth, let's explore how participating in a team sport can lead to opportunities for interpersonal growth. There are undoubtedly many social health benefits to participating in a team sport. For one, being part of a team puts you in an environment that promotes the development of communication skills. Players in a team are usually in a constant state of interaction between their teammates and coaches, both on and off the field. Outside of communicating to coordinate plays, players must also learn how to receive both positive and negative feedback about their performance from their coaches and fellow teammates. Outside of sports, this skill is used in both the workplace and the classroom, as we've seen in this very public speaking class when we're tasked with critiquing each other's speeches. Players must also learn how to clearly communicate strategies and moves to their teammates, both verbally and non-verbally. And as with public speaking, players must often send and receive these impromptu messages under the pressures of time and in front of an audience. Lastly, participating in a team sport allows people to network and perhaps make lifelong friends. For example, when I first moved to Hamilton from northern New Jersey for work, I only knew one person in this neighborhood. After making the decision to join an informal pickleball club with some of my coworkers, I now have a collection of friends and acquaintances in this area. Furthermore, having the benefits of social support and connectedness that come from being part of a team has been shown to positively impact mental health. In a study published in the journal Medicine and Science in Sports Science, titled Does Sports Club Participation Contribute to Health-Related Quality of Life? Epidemiologist Rochelle Ime, who has 20 years of experience in public health and sports management, and her colleagues tried to measure perceived quality of life among women who participated in 3 different types of physical activities: club sports, walking, and going to the gym on their own. She surveyed over 800 women and found that participating in a club sport versus solitary physical activity is associated with higher levels of mental well-being and life satisfaction.
Lastly, let's explore how participating in team sports can lead to memories that will last for a lifetime. We all want to win. Winning's in the human nature, and as it turns out, winning gives you lifelong memories. Especially in high school sports, winning means everything, no matter if it's a small win over a rival school that's local to you or if it's a state championship. Wins mean so much. And I can attest to the state championships being so much because I have 3. I got 2 rings from them in 1 jacket as well. So as you can see, it's not just the mental memories that you can remember or the pictures. It's physical, like rings and newspapers showing you that you're a champion forever. You also get to travel the state and your country if you're doing club sports. That shows you everything that you need to see in your state, everything that's cool, as well as memories that you can build off the field when you're traveling, especially like in team hotels, team bonding trips, and team dinners. I have so many memories from when I was in Maryland, Florida, and Pennsylvania from doing those different team bonding activities. So I can attest firsthand that those memories are some of the best I ever have. We've seen how participating in team sports has many benefits overall.
In conclusion, I hope we've been able to show you how participating in team sports can have a positive impact on both your growth as a person and as a person in your community. Above all, I hope we've demonstrated how being part of a team can impact you with skills and experiences that have applications outside of sports. There are the personal and social skills that you learn that may later become useful within the context of school and the workplace. You can gain lasting memories from traveling within and possibly even outside of your county, state, country with your team. You never know how much impact you truly have until you realize how much impact others can have.
Yay. All right, great ending. You guys could clap if you want. Okay. So just some general points. I thought that was very well done. The connectors, again, great. So that's really kicking in now. And I see more and more use of connectors, and I really like it. Um, Great introduction with all the parts, and the supporting material was standing. And you did cite your sources well, those that were common. We knew right off the bat what you were talking about. That was very good. The visuals, you mixed it up, and that was great. And I was really impressed with the rings that Andrew showed us. And boy, oh boy, Andrew, taking off that hat really did something for you. I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but boy, have you improved with your delivery. So I really did appreciate that, and I really did notice that. And I think most people noticed those rings, right? Most people looked at those rings like, oh wow, that's really cool. So that was a nice added gesture for us. Really hit home on what you were talking about when you showed newspaper. See how much memories you can have when you participate in sports. So those are really good visuals to match what you were saying. All right. Any questions at all? I'll give you your individual comments on delivery and stuff, but overall it was pretty good.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So to play devil's advocate, is there any negative impact that comes from joining a team sport?
I mean, there's like common things like you end up arguing, not making friends. You could get hurt, like a lot of, injuries are a big part of what comes with sports.
Yeah, so injuries is the worst part. I mean, I've been injured before, it sucks. But I mean, it's just more opportunity to improve, get yourself better.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Point two, Braylon. Good point. We should always try to get on the other side of the argument and knock it down before anybody can come back like Braylon did and say, hey, so what's the bad parts about it? Okay, good question. You had a question, Alejandro?
I thought we had to have 5 slides of visual aids.
Oh,
They
it doesn't
said-
have to be a slide. It could be any type of visual aid.
I thought it said slide on the rubric.
It also
That
said
objects that you can present.
you can
And
present
explain.
objects as well. I told you that in the speech. And during class, and I did tell you a few times, whatever you do, don't make your whole speech a slideshow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
Yes, sir.
Sean, what does visual aid mean again?
Close your video, close your speaker. All right, group 3 is next. One more irrelevant question from you, say, I'm going to kick you out of the class, okay? All right. Group 3 is Miles, Samantha, Gabriella, and Say.
Are we good to go?
Yes.
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, global energy demand is expected to surge by 47% by 2050. As our planet heats up and our energy needs grow, we face a critical question. How do we fuel our future without destroying what we love about the present? Fossil fuels, the backbone of our current energy system, are running out, and they're poisoning our atmosphere with greenhouse gases. Renewable energy sources like wind and solar are important steps forward, but they're not enough on their own to power a global economy, especially when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing. This is where nuclear energy comes in. Often misunderstood and dismissed, nuclear power offers a sustainable, efficient, and powerful solution to our deepening energy crisis. It's time to take a second look. So everyone look at Miles. Snowboarding is something we in this group all have in common. As snowboarders, we've seen the impact of climate change firsthand, and we're passionate about solutions that preserve our environment and our sport. We know nuclear energy is controversial, but it's also one of the most promising paths forward. In this speech, we'll first explain why we need a new energy approach. Then we'll explore how nuclear power works, outline its many benefits, and finally, address the concerns surrounding safety and waste. Let's dive in and see why nuclear energy deserves a second chance. To ensure a sustainable and livable future, we must shift away from our current energy model and adopt a new one. Today, fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas dominate the global energy supply, powering everything from factories to homes. But this dominance comes at a devastating environmental cost. The burning of fossil fuels is the single largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, with carbon dioxide trapping heat in our atmosphere and intensifying the climate crisis. Beyond contributing to global warming, fossil fuel extraction pollutes our air and water,
destroys ecosystems, and poses serious risks to public health. And perhaps most critically, there are finite resources. Once they're gone, they're gone. As global energy demands soar, clinging to outdated and destructive energy sources is no longer an option. It's clear, we need a cleaner, safer, and more dependable energy solution. This is where nuclear power enters the conversation, not as a replacement for all other sources, but as a critical pillar in a sustainable energy future.
So the nuclear energy process. First, uranium is harvested from the earth in mines. This uranium contains mostly uranium-238, which does not contribute to the reaction that occurs inside of a reactor, but only a small portion is uranium-235, which is directly contributing in the reaction. So this uranium is then enriched through an enrichment process, which increases the concentration of uranium-235 from about 0.7% to around 3 to 5%. Next, what happens is the reaction takes place. So this happens by the uranium fuel rods being in the reactor, and neutrons are shot at the uranium to produce energy, which splits the atom. So these reactions are controlled by boron control rods, and they limit the reaction so it does not get too out of hand. So once the atom is split, it releases energy as heat, which boils water. This water is then turned to steam, which spins a turbine, which generates electricity. And for safety, these are all enclosed in thick metal and concrete structures. So some of the benefits to nuclear energy are it's environmentally friendly. During the operation of a nuclear power plant, there is very little carbon emissions, even when deployed on a global scale. Nuclear energy is highly efficient. According to springpowerandgas.us, nuclear fission is nearly 8,000 times more efficient at producing energy than traditional fossil fuels. So if you look on the slide, the little thing in his hand is uranium fuel pellet, and that one little piece of fuel is the same amount as those 2 bags of coal. Additionally, nuclear power plants take up much less space than other clean energy resources like solar and wind farms. So currently in the US, there's 94 nuclear reactors and 33 power plants. This provides about 20% of the United States energy and takes up 30 square miles. To provide this same 20% of the US energy, there would need to be around 4,000 to 5,000 square miles of solar panels, assuming constant sunlight and 13 to 14% efficiency for each panel. On top of this, nuclear energy is running at full power around 90% of the time, regardless of weather and other factors that can impact production. Another one that nuclear has a benefit over is there's no emissions limits on it because it does not produce emissions. So it gives it the ability to produce at a higher rate for a longer period of time. Finally, nuclear power plants offer a market for highly skilled jobs and economic growth. The engineers, operators, and construction workers will all benefit from the creation of nuclear reactors, and people living in the areas will also benefit from the long-term employment opportunities and local tax revenues. The average nuclear power plant in the US employs 500 to 800 workers, and these jobs pay 36% more than local salaries from the US Department of Energy, Office of Nuclear Energy. Naturally, people have concerns about nuclear waste, so let's address those next.
While we know well-known accidents like Chernobyl have shaped public perception, it's important to recognize how rare such events are, along with how much technology has advanced since then. Today's Mars reactors are designed with multiple layers of protection and are equipped with safety systems that require no human intervention or external powers to operate. According to the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or just the US NRC, modern reactors are designed with safety features to prevent meltdowns. This means that automatic shutdowns and they can cool themselves in emergency situations. These systems reduce a great risk of accidents and make modern nuclear power far more safer than people actually realize. Another common concern about nuclear energy is the issue of radioactive waste. The nuclear waste is highly manageable and the technologies we have today can only make it safer. According to the US NRC, used nuclear fuel is carefully stored in secure, heavily shielded containers, which are designed to safely contain them for decades. Unlike the carbon emissions from fossil fuels, which are released directly into the atmosphere, nuclear waste is constantly monitored from the moment it's produced. Research also is a progress in advanced long-term storage solutions, including environmental storage and recycling spent fuels to extract more energy. A significant barrier that nuclear energy faces is public fear that often comes from outdated information and drastic media portrayals, such as seen in books, movies, and television series. Chernobyl is frequently referenced in the media, reinforcing a sense of danger that no longer shows in the reality of modern nuclear technology. Based on the US NRC, today's reactors operate under strict safety standards and continuous oversight with protocols in place to prevent accidents and to protect the public. However, these advancements hardly ever make headlines. This leads to many people still associating nuclear energy with disasters from decades ago, ignoring all the progress in technology and safety. Educating the public with accurate, up-to-date information is essential for shifting public perception. Now, let's look at the future role in clean energy. While renewable sources like wind and solar are essential for a clean energy future, they can't do it alone. Their irregular nature makes it difficult to provide consistent and reliable power supply. There were nuclear energy. That's where nuclear energy comes in. According to the World Economic Forum, in the article, Why Nuclear Power is Key to Net Zero, nuclear energy can help renewables by providing a steady, carbon-free power of electricity, ensuring the grid stays available even when the sun isn't shining and the wind's not blowing. Today, nuclear and renewables form a powerful duo together. Renewable reduces emissions when conditions are right, and nuclear fills in the gaps with constant low emission energy. By working in sync, they can create a strong carbon-free energy system that meets both environmental goals and growing electricity demands. Ignoring nuclear is a clear energy mix is not just impractical, but it's also a greatly missed opportunity. One of the most strategic advances of nuclear energy is the potential for greater energy independence. Today, many countries rely heavily on imported fossil fuels like oils and natural gas, leaving them vulnerable to market unpredictabilities and supply chain distributions. Nuclear energy is the solution. According to Why Nuclear Power is Key to Net Zero, nuclear power enables countries to generate a consistent, large-scale supply of energy domestically, reducing reliance on foreign energy. This shields economies from unpredictable price spikes and energy shortages. With a stable long-term fuel supply and reactors that can operate for decades, nuclear power provides a level of energy power that few other sources can match. Currently, nuclear energy is experiencing a global renewal. More than 60 new reactors are currently under construction around the world, showing a major role nuclear can have in achieving a low-carbon future. As the World Economic Forum emphasizes, governments and industries are ramping up investments in nuclear infrastructure as part of their climate action strategies. Countries like China, India, and the UK are expanding their nuclear fleets to meet growing energy demands while slashing emissions. This reflects a shift in a global thinking. Nuclear energy is no longer seen as a last resort, but as a vital component of a balanced and sustainable energy mix. The growing international investment shows that nuclear energy is shaping the future of a clean energy worldwide. Hopefully, this helps give more insights about nuclear energy and how it's going to be a part of the future.
We've seen that white fossil fuels continue to dominate our energy landscape. They are a major source of pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, posing a serious threat to our environment and public health. On the other hand, while renewable sources like wind and solar are essential, they are also inconsistent and weather dependent, making them unreliable as a solar solution. That's where nuclear energy stands out. It provides a powerful, consistent, and carbon-free alternative that can complement renewables and help us build a stable, clean energy grid. We've also addressed common concerns. Modern nuclear reactors are safer than ever. Waste is securely managed, and public fear is often based on outdated information. Investment in nuclear energy around the world is growing, providing that this energy source isn't just viable, it is vital to our future. Now is the time to take action. If we're serious about combating climate change and securing a sustainable energy future, we must look beyond our outdated fears and embrace the real potential of nuclear power. Support continued research and development and next generation nuclear technologies that make reactors even safer and more efficient. Advocate for public and private investment in nuclear infrastructure to help expand its role in our national and global energy strategies. And perhaps mostly important, speak up, help shift the conversation and correct the misconceptions surrounding nuclear energy. Talk to your peers, challenge misinformation, and support leaders who prioritize science-based energy policy. Together, we can change the narrative and move toward a cleaner, smarter, and more secure energy future. With nuclear power leading the way to power the future, we must look beyond fear and embrace innovation because nuclear energy is the future. It's time to stop letting outdated fears and misconceptions hold us back from the progress. With the climate crisis accelerating and energy demands on the rise, we can no longer afford to overlook one of the most powerful tools at our disposal. Nuclear energy offers a rare combination of reliability, cleanness, and stability, qualities that few other energy sources can match. Embracing nuclear isn't just a technological choice. It is a bold, forward-thinking step toward a more sustainable and secure world. The future is calling for solutions rooted in science, not fear, and nuclear energy is ready to answer.
How many sources did you cite during your speech?
Oh, there was three. We had
I heard the last one.
World Economic
I heard-
Forum. There was Spring Power and Gas, and then U.S. Department of Energy Office of Nuclear Energy.
I got the U.S. Department of Energy, and I got that last one. The other two, I missed them. I think it was because maybe it wasn't detailed enough about it. I didn't recognize it. But okay. Just briefly, and we're gonna hold the questions to the last speech, and we'll do all the questions together. Going from these, I like the call to action at the end. You were very clear and specific on what you wanted people to do. You said support the research, advocate for public and private investments, speak up. You were very clear with that. Again, the summary statement, I didn't hear indication that you were at the end. So you need to make sure that you do that. Good use of connectives, moving from one point to another. However, in that main point, I was a little bit thought that you could have used the transition between the concerns and then you moved on to the future. I thought you could have used a transition, especially since Samantha gave us a little confusion there when she said, now let's talk about concerns when you were already talking about concerns. So that part in there was just a bit confusing. I thought you kept those slides up way too long. You could have shown them and then taken them down. I wanted to see your faces. So in that respect, the whole first part was just a lot of slides and kept them up there for a long time. You could have taken them down at some point. So just be mindful of that. And you did have the part right now. This time. Okay, group 4. And again, hold your questions if you have some for this group, and we'll answer them at the end. Devin and Braylon and Jerry is not here. Sorry that he abandoned you today, but I think you were kind of prepared for that.
The only thing we don't have is the slides. That was him, so.
He was supposed to do slides. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I did see them. They were presented, I believe. So, great.
We're good to start? Can you hear me okay? No? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. Imagine walking into a massive warehouse where tens of thousands of animals are crammed into filthy cages, unable to move freely while living in constant pain and stress. The air is thick with ammonia, the floor is slick with waste, and the animals' cry echo off the wall. This isn't a horror movie. It's the reality of factory farming, a system hidden from public view but deeply ingrained in our food production. The system not only inflicts immense cruelty on animals, but also harms our environment and threatens our health. Factory farming is a harmful and unsustainable system that causes animal suffering, contributes significantly to environmental decay, and poses serious risks to human health. Therefore, changes must be made. Through educated consumer choices and policy changes, as someone who has researched food systems, environmental science, and animal welfare, I've spent much of my time examining the unseen costs behind the food on our plates. What I have found is deeply concerning, but also extremely important to share. In this speech, we will show how factory farming causes unnecessary animal suffering, creates environmental destruction, and endangers human health. Let's begin by understanding how factory farming impacts the lives of animals. Factory farming causes extreme systematic cruelty to animals, like pigs, cows, and chickens. They are all crammed into the tiny, overcrowded spaces where they can't express natural behaviors. Egg-laying hens are confined to cages in an average space of 67 square inches, which is less than a sheet of paper. Veal calves are chained in crates and separated from their mothers shortly after birth. According to the Humane Society, over 95% of animals raised for food in the U.S. live in factory farms under these conditions. Animals are purposely mutilated without pain relief to adapt them to this unnatural environment. Chickens have their beaks cut to prevent pecking injuries caused by stress and overcrowding. Piglets are castrated, tail docked, and have their teeth clipped without anesthesia. The American Veterinary Medical Association has acknowledged that these procedures cause acute and chronic pain. Animals show signs of depression, anxiety, and stereotypic behaviors. Louis Marino of the International Journal of Comparative Psychology says pigs, who are more intelligent than dogs, chew on cage bars or even bite themselves out of frustration. A 2017 study from Animal Cognition found that cows from social bonds suffer emotional distress when separated from their companions. Corey Calvin from Farm Sanctuary reports that animals rescued from factory farms often display PTSD-like symptoms. But the suffering doesn't stop at animals. Next, we'll discuss how our planet also pays the price of factory farming. Factory farming is a leading cause of environmental decay. The livestock sector is a major contributor to climate change. The UN FAO reports that livestock accounts for 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is more than all planes, cars, and trains combined. Cows produce methane, a greenhouse gas, 25 times more potent than CO2. The Environmental Protection Agency says that animal agriculture is a top emitter of nitrous oxide, another potent greenhouse gas. Animal waste is stored in open lagoons that leak and overflow. In North Carolina, pig waste lagoons have contaminated groundwater, leading to health crises in nearby communities. The U.S. Geological Survey found that elevated nitrates and antibiotic downstream of factory farms. Ammonia and hydrogen sulfide from waste also pollute the air, leading to respiratory issues in both workers and neighbors.
Factory farming requires vast natural resources that could be used more efficiently. It takes 2,000 gallons of water to produce just 1 pound of meat. Over 80% of soybean production is used for animal feed, not human consumption. Deforestation in the Amazon is largely driven by land clearing for cattle grazing and soy farming, contributing to biodiversity loss and climate change. Lastly, we'd like to talk to you about how factory farming puts human health at serious risk. Animals are given antibiotics routinely, not to treat disease, but to prevent it in filthy conditions. The Ecologist report, which is part of the Ecological Impact Assessment, stated that nearly 70% of antibiotics in the US are given to farm animals, not humans. This overuse creates drug-resistant bacteria, making it harder to treat infections in people. The CDC reported in 2020, antibiotic-resistant bacteria caused over 2.8 million infections and 35,000 deaths in the US. Zoonotic diseases are easily transmitted from animals to human and thrive in crowded farms. Zoonotic disease is an infectious disease that can spread from animals to humans. The crowded, unsanitary conditions of factory farms are breeding grounds for viruses. The H1N1 swine flu pandemic of 2009 originated in factory farm pigs. Avian influenza strains are becoming more deadly due to mutations in high-density poultry facilities. Experts from the CDC explained in 2020 that factory farms are ticking time bombs for future pandemics. The USDA recalls millions of pounds of meat annually due to contamination. Factory farm meat is more likely to be contaminated with harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. The Ecologist report details a Consumer Report study finding that 97% of raw chicken in supermarkets has contained harmful bacteria. E. coli from contaminated beef has led to outbreaks resulting in kidney failure and death, particularly in children. We've covered a lot of ground today, and this picture is definitely bleak, but awareness is the first step toward change. In conclusion, factory farming is a harmful and unsustainable system that causes extreme animal suffering, contributes significantly to environmental decay, and poses serious risk to human health. Therefore, changes must be made through educated consumer choices and policy changes. Factory farming is a system built on animal cruelty, environmental exploitation, and public health risks. It is not just about animals, farms, or food. It's about our values. Instead of accepting a food system that profits from suffering and destruction, choose compassion, sustainability, and health. So the next time you sit down in front of your plate to eat a meal, remember the suffering and destruction caused by factory farming that we discussed today. Every meal is a choice. By supporting more humane and sustainable food practices, such as plant-based options, local farms, and policy change, we can begin to dismantle a factory farming industry for good as we build a better world for animals, the planet, and ourselves. In closing, we leave you with this quote by Francis Moore Lappé. an American researcher and author in the field of food and democracy policy, who once said, "The power to change the food system lies within each of us. It starts with the choices we make every day." Thank you.
So class, will we accept? Now, Braylon, I think you said her name is Olivia? Your cat? What's
Oh,
your cat's
Gizzy. Gizzy.
name? Somebody else maybe have Oliver. Yeah, can we accept that as a visual? And maybe Braylon's shirt, you matter.
I did it on purpose.
I've been snuck one in. I don't know how many people can see it, but he snuck one in as well. Okay, so that's good impromptu on the fly adjustments, which always come in handy and useful for a public speaking event.
I shouldn't have blurred
Okay,
my
okay.
background.
Yeah.
That
Now,
was the issue.
okay. So now that Braylon's back on, what's the one thing we noticed? I mean, Devin's back on. What's the one thing we notice about it? Tell us, Devin.
Oh, say it again. I'm so sorry.
The one thing we noticed about you when you came back on.
It was a little blurry.
No, the hat.
Oh,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The
Bad hair
shirt's
day.
the shirt's grooving. The hat can become a shadow. It makes a
Okay.
shadow over your face. Okay. Um, very good citation, oral citation detailing and setting it up of who the people are. The closing was excellent. I really liked it. You know why, right? Okay. Um, you did give specific directions how to go for action. Um, the great use of connectives, very vivid language. I think we all could really visualize the suffering that goes on, just really based on that language that you were given. I could just imagine some of the photos if we had them. We might be seeing some tears here today, right? So that was very good. Good use of transitions, connected. Um, that was basically it. So, do we have any questions first? Okay, Alejandro.
Is factory farming ethical?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Why?
Homie, did you listen to the speech? I mean, it is animal cruelty to the extreme. It promotes climate change, deforestation, all of that. And it's literally killing us. It's so bad for human health.
I think they gave some pretty astonishing statistics, even of deaths that were caused by some of the E. coli, about the H1N1. Any other questions? How about from group 3 with the nuclear option? Yes, Alejandro.
If nuclear waste is a good energy source, why do we not have more power plants as such?
What do you mean that like use the spent fuel to power it?
I just mean like why are there not more plants in general to take care of other things like you know how we have solar panels
Yeah,
And
so
wind turbines, why do we not have more?
the main reason is public fear. Like people are scared about accidents like Chernobyl, Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, that they don't understand like what went wrong with those things. So, for example, like Chernobyl, they could have evacuated everybody. They didn't because it was the USSR. They didn't want the whole world to look at them bad. And they just continued to deny. They didn't take any accountability. So people are terrified of these things happening, but they don't understand the underlying reasons why they happened and how they could have easily been prevented. So the main reason why there's not more nuclear facilities and power plants is because of public fear mainly.
Yeah, and mostly all of those accidents were like caused by some technical
Yeah, they
mistake
were.
somebody
Yeah,
made.
yeah. So yeah, Chernobyl was the operators were not trained properly, and they didn't address the warning signs. 3 Mile Island, a piece of the reactor. There's a little cooling pipe that broke, so it caused the reactor to overheat. And then Fukushima was caused by well, not by an earthquake, but the tsunami that followed the earthquake. So just nothing they could really do about that one. So
Braylon?
How do you overcome the prejudice and fear that already exists surrounding nuclear power plants?
the best way is probably just to inform people about it. So as it gets safer, as the technology improves, people will understand that it's not this big scary monster in the closet anymore, and they'll understand the true power and the benefits of nuclear energy.
Okay, thoughtful questions. All right, I enjoyed all four speeches. Yes, Devin.
I had one question about the nuclear power plants. What do you think is the most dangerous health factor for humans that can come out of this?
So obviously it's radiation. I mean, that's the whole premise behind the fear. And radiation only escapes if there's a critical meltdown. So what happened in Chernobyl, um, that's essentially the worst possible case. And even when that happens, if you follow proper safety procedures and evacuation procedures, you can limit the damage to humans and the environment, which they did not do in Chernobyl. But
Okay, good questions and great responses. Good job. Seems like everybody did do a lot of research. The one thing I would just say overall is practice, practice, practice. It helps you to not want to move to the comfortableness of reading uh, when you practice. So that's one thing I would say. Your eye contact, of course, practice it. Practice looking into your camera so that you know where the contact is located. I think, Satchel, you had that issue where you kept looking like you were giving the eye contact to us, but actually you weren't giving it to us. You were, I don't know, but you were looking into the camera. It seemed like you were trying to give us an eye contact, but it was going in a different direction. So that would be another key thing to stand out. But overall, I think you all have accomplished a lot in terms of public speaking. I think you understand fully that it is not something extemporaneously speaking is something that you have to work at. It's a strategic, methodical development that occurs, and you need to understand and know all the tools that in the toolbox that we use to gain our audience's attention and keep it, right? All while delivering the message that we intend to get across, right? It's a lot of work, but it can be achieved. And I think if we look back from day one, when you gave me those special occasion speeches to today, you can see and feel your own improvement. As I said earlier, I think Andrew, today was your best speech ever. You were really into it, and I think you really liked the topic. And so that lends a little bit to when you really do care about a topic and want to learn a lot about it and know it, it comes across to your audience. And it gives you that credibility you need to convince them around to your way of thinking. So I'm not going to keep you too much long. If you want to stay, we can stay. A couple of people, I'm going to reach out to you on email because I feel like there's some assignments. I'm going to give you the opportunity to hand them in because you need that push with that. Okay. So if anybody wants to contact me, you know, you can always email me. You can stay after, we can set up a time and a date to meet. That being said, congratulations, public speakers. I'm very proud of your efforts, and I hope that you continue to take some of the recommendations that I gave you and incorporate them into your public speaking affairs. Have a wonderful semester, a fantastic summer. If you're coming back next fall, maybe I'll see you then. Take care.
Pleasure to
Be
meet you.
safe.
Thank you so much.
Same here.
Thank you for being such a flexible professor.
Oh, yeah. All about the communication. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. You guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All of you,
Professor.
very proud of you. Really did well.
Yes. I saw you like change my grade and stuff. You changed my grade. Yeah, yeah, and I
Wait a
saw.
minute, say.
Say it again.
I said, wait.